Going from ZEPBOUND 7.5 milligrams to ZEPBOUND 10 milligrams, my 5 tips for that evolution of titrating up from the different doses. Hi friends, I'm Elizabeth, Countess of Shopping. I have lost I'm pulling up my before and after, 98 pounds, woo, in the last 22 months of being on Mounjaro, and I switched to ZEPBOUND because of the shortage and Tirzepatide. And on today's episode, I specifically want to camp out in going from ZEPBOUND 7.5 milligrams to ZEPBOUND 10 milligrams. And some things that I have done that you may not have thought of. Now, I am not a healthcare provider, honey. Go talk to your own healthcare provider. This is not medical advice, but hopefully some of the topics that we're going to talk about will help spark for you to have a conversation with your healthcare provider in the best interest of your own health, because we're all different. Our medical conditions are different. It's different. So these are some of the things that have worked really well for me that I hopefully will help for you too. Number one is if you've been on ZEPBOUND 7.5 milligrams, you've been on for a hot second. It's been at least 3 months, if not longer. And within that time frame, one of the things that I want to encourage you to talk to your healthcare provider about is, when do you need to get your next blood panel? Because hopefully you had one done around the time you were starting medication, and then now, so you can see some of the differences in it. For me, it has been crazy. My blood panels have dramatically changed. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Like, in my whole life, my health has been, it's been crazy, the evolution of this. I mean, to go from somebody who's morbidly obese to the body that I'm in now, the last 22 months of GLP-1 medication, particularly if you're going to ZEPBOUND 10 milligrams, having that blood panel, and your healthcare provider is going to tell you what makes the best sense for you, if it's going to be superfluous or if, yeah, we should remeasure that and see. For me, one of the things, I just got back from my doctor's office. Now I'm on ZEPBOUND 15 milligrams, but just had my annual physical, and which I want to encourage you, if you've not had a physical done, and all of your like preventative things like mammograms and colonoscopies and all the things, put your adulting hat on and go adult and get those done. But at my physical, I may be getting off blood pressure medication, and there may be some changes with my thyroid medication too. So some of my medications will be changing as well, which is crazy as a result of this ZEPBOUND weight loss. And so I'm saying that because I've been having some dizzy things of, I was dizzy a bunch, and it could be that it's because of my blood pressure medication. I may not need as much or none at all, depending. So anyways, going back to having the blood panel, being under doctors, a healthcare provider's care with that, with my primary care doctor. Now, I use a telehealth company to help me, and I'll link all of the information I'm talking about today down in the description link below. Number two, from going from ZEPBOUND 7.5 milligrams to ZEPBOUND 10 milligrams, is the transition, and you may not have thought of this yet, or maybe you have, but I want to really encourage you to think about it this week as you go on your ZEPBOUND journey, is foods that I had liked and the transition and evolution of that. Do I need to have more veggies in my diet? Do I need to have, for fiber? Do I need to have, because we're supposed to have 25 grams of fiber per the dietitian when I interviewed the GLP-1 dietitian from that. You can see that down, by the way, click the like and subscribe button. You can see that episode. There's two. It's a 2-part series from a dietitian who focuses just on GLP-1 patients, of more vegetables. Do I need more fruits? For me, that was a wake-up call of like, I'm not eating enough fruits and vegetables. And so really focusing in on that. And then maybe, do I need more protein? For me, because my lifting and workout has changed, I've needed more protein. So I do 125 grams of protein per day, and I always have to preface, not on day 1 and day 2, that 24-hour to 36-ish hours, I'm having maximum appetite suppression, so I'm not hitting that. But I am focusing on high nutrients, meaning fruits and vegetables, and high protein meals. And so really feeling, what does good feel like with food? And that's one thing from ZEPBOUND 7.5 milligrams really to the ZEPBOUND 10 milligrams of where I honed in on that. Because being morbidly obese, I don't know about y'all, but there was a massive unhealthy relationship with food that has been healed, and it's still, there's still some pockets that I'm still continuing to actively work on. And so I want to encourage you with that food relationship. For example, I would not eat like things like, for example, macaroni and cheese. I'm using this. I did a Mission Barbecue video recently of where I enjoy macaroni and cheese from Mission Barbecue because they make it like my grandmother Nadine used to make it, Southern. She's Southern cook. And so it's 300 calories for this small portion. And so allotting that into my food choices and not feeling guilt, shame, condemnation associated with a food. That if I am choosing to have something that's yummy, a yum yum, that I'm gonna savor it, I'm gonna enjoy it, and I may not eat the whole thing. I didn't eat that whole thing in one serving, by the way. I couldn't, I was too full because I'm also still focusing on my protein and my nutrients. So for you, what I want to encourage you with your journey is, what does that look like for you? What does good feel like for you? What you guys hear me talking about fruits and vegetables all the time of new things I'm trying? Excuse me. This like reflux stuff is from ZEPBOUND, by the way, where I'm like, I may throw up, excuse me. More vegetables, more proteins, and focusing in on those have been very helpful. And Costco, I do Instacart Costco delivery with my food. I'm able to try all these fruits because I can see it when I type in for Costco Instacart. I'm like, fruit. And then new stuff pops up, like the yellow dragon fruit. And if you haven't seen that diarrhea episode about dragon fruit, go watch that one if you're having constipation. Number 3, this is one of my ones that I'm, the evolution of working out and lifting. And for me, changing into I need to lift, it's super, super important. 80%, and I saw this on someone else who I respect and like, and I appreciate. About 80% of it is nutrition, but then the other 20% is the workout part of it in terms of like the weight loss journey. But really both are super important because of the lifting factor, because we lose muscle mass loss. But muscle mass loss, not just with ZEPBOUND weight loss or Mounjaro weight loss, that happens with any sort of weight loss plan where you're losing weight, you're gonna lose muscle mass loss. So I have had a bone density, I was gonna say BMI, but that's not right. I had my bones checked on it basically because the muscle mass, if there's loss in it, that the muscle is supporting the bones. And so making sure our bones don't get brittle. She does not want brittle bones. I love me some nut brittle. What's that called? Is it nut brittle? Is that what I'm talking about? Like that the Boy Scouts sell? You can tell I'm a foodie. I want some nut brittle now. Is that what it's called? Peanut brittle. That's what it's called. Oh my goodness. I digress. We went off on a squirrel tangent, but having in there with my working out and lifting, one of the biggest helpful things for me is BIOPTIMIZERS, the magnesium breakthrough. Now, did you know that more than 70% of people are magnesium deficient? This is oh, no, it's not a new bottle. This is what the pills look like. I started taking these because Chalene Johnson, who I follow, had recommended them. She said BIOPTIMIZERS has 7 types of magnesium in one pill. And the previous magnesium I was taking had 1. And I'm like, knock, knock, who's there? Why am I taking a magnesium that only has 1 type when I can get 7 included in here? Now, I take 2 different magnesium pills a night. That's what works well for me. But there's a stair stepping when you first start. Of course, talk to your own healthcare provider before taking any new supplements. But you can start taking more. And I did. I followed the directions that they gave me. So in terms of the stair stepping, because I was so magnesium deficient, it was very helpful to have the higher dose of it. And then now I take 2 a night. And I take it at night because it helps with my sleep. But specifically for moving from ZEPBOUND 7.5 mg to ZEPBOUND 10 mg, having BIOPTIMIZERS has been helpful for my side effects with constipation. With that, I mean, that right there, that's like a game changer. But 2 is with, and we do have different side effects as we changed. I have had different side effects as I've changed dose. 2 is the muscle recovery, and 3 is sleep. It has been so helpful, so beneficial. And so many people in my free encouragement group will message and be like, oh my gosh. I mean, I have note after note after note after note of how, like, people that have really, really had a great change in their health, like I have, because I have my Oura Ring sleep tracking. It tells me my sleep data. And I did a whole episode in my Oura Ring episode showing my sleep data from taking BIOPTIMIZERS and not taking BIOPTIMIZERS. So use the discount code QUEEN and you can save an extra discount on that with BIOPTIMIZERS. But the working out component of the muscle relief of I got so sore. And so with muscle recovery, magnesium is super, super beneficial with that as well. But also just as importantly for me with my side effects, my ZEPBOUND side effects, and with my sleep too. And I want to encourage you with your workouts. It's going to be an evolution, at least mine was. It started off with just walking the dog for a mile. And that was hard. Now I do 6 miles once a week, every week. I do 6-mile hike. And now I lift and I do Pilates and like all the things. If Evolve is a lifting program, it's Jennifer Aniston ones. That one's probably more expensive. I like that one. But also here on YouTube, there's free workouts. If you don't want to spend any money on workout stuff, then Google it. I would invest my resources though in BIOPTIMIZERS, and I'll link that down in the description link below. Number 4 is side effects. You probably know what side effects you have had, but you may have different ones. Transitioning. I did. When I transitioned to ZEPBOUND 15 milligrams, I had never had vomiting or nausea. I'm like, oh, that's not one of the gastrointestinal. There's diarrhea, constipation, nausea, and vomiting. I do think for me, a lot of them were food induced. However, sometimes it just is. Like yesterday, I threw up. I've shared this in another video. I threw up, but it was, I was eating some new meat. And I was like, maybe that's why I threw up, but it was right after my shot. So like a couple hours after, later on. So all of that to say, like the next day, like 12 hours later. All of that to say, the point in which I'm trying to get at, no, it was more than that. Maybe it was like 15. It was within a 24-hour window is the point that I'm trying to make. All of that to say, side effects may vary. And so just being flexible, wearing it like a loose garment, that you may have side effects with these that you hadn't had before, and that may change, and that's also okay with that. But recognizing you may not have any side effects. It's been interesting seeing people in my free group who are like, I'm not having side effects. And I'm like, that's also totally okay. Like you just may not. We are all different. And you may have some depending on other factors too, particularly if food's changing. Going back to number 2 was talking about food. If you're trying some different foods, that may affect your side effects too, like the constipation component or diarrhea. If you're having a ton of leafy green vegetables, right? Like that may give you some diarrhea. And so gauging yourself too. And if I'm eating different fruits and vegetables as well, some of them have different reactions on my body, whereas others don't. So like berries versus apples for me digestively are different. So, but everybody's different. So you do you. Tip number 5. This is an interesting one. And I don't know if you'll experience this or not. This is just my experience, strength, and hope. Is I got treated differently, and I treated myself differently at this point. Going to ZEPBOUND 10 milligrams, so from 7.5 to ZEPBOUND 10 milligrams, I started to treat myself differently, and really putting my health at the front of things that I had been praying for and wanting, and vision board casting and all that stuff, to actually be doing. That has been crazy. Like actually lifting and being like, oh, I like Pilates, and being a Pilates person. Like, who is this? I have Pilates socks, the Griffey socks. Like, who is this? Like, that's crazy to me in a beautiful, amazing, fabulous way. And so I want to encourage you, if you're treating yourself differently, it feels a little scary. For me, I felt scary. Let me say, I'll use my I statements. I have felt scared at pockets. And you see me in videos get emotional. I do get very emotional. And one of you hit the nail on the head, which is why I love our comment sections so much. Someone was like, you ate those feelings and now they're coming up. And it's been 22 months and I'm still learning to process these new feelings because I'm not stuffing them. I can't. And so I'm feeling more stuff. And so, which is one of the reasons why I'm emotional in a lot of my videos, where I'm like, ah! And learning how to adapt to that, particularly in a work environment with my family, with my hot husband, being a mother, like a community member, is I didn't have this vice now to go with, which I didn't. If you're on ZEPBOUND 7.5 milligrams or 10 milligrams, you have been without a vice seemingly. But for me, it was really like when I first started ZEPBOUND 2.5 milligrams and 5 milligrams, it was like, I'm just changing the food. The whole concept of not having food chatter blew my mind. And not eating as much blew my mind. The first time I was like, I'm full. I put my fork down and I pushed my plate away and I was like, I am full, period. Like that was a new phenomenon for me. And so just getting used to that, like those two things, not food chatter. And then that led to me the third one was not snacking at night, because that was my biggest downfall. Because at nighttime I could pack it up, pack it in, let me begin. At nighttime I'd have like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 calories. Cannot lose weight if I'm consuming those extra calories at night. And that would blow any sort of weight loss I would have. With ZEPBOUND, and I started off on Mounjaro because of the Mounjaro shortage, transition to ZEPBOUND, and then Tirzepatide compounded back to ZEPBOUND. Through having these new lifestyle things of treating myself differently with that has been crazy. That has been crazy. And at the beginning, it was just focusing in on like these crazy transitions. And now we're finding it a little bit more. Refining. And so therefore treating myself differently, of showing up for workouts, showing up for healthy foods. And if I eat foods, the past couple of days have not been crazy beautiful in terms of my food choices, and getting back on it. Not judging myself, being like, okay, Elizabeth, it's time to get back on it. And so for lunch today, I'm gonna have something really, really nutritious. And the rest of the day, I'm gonna have something like it's making these choices, it ebbs and it flows. But then the other part of this too, and I don't like to camp out on this one too much because I like to focus in on things I can control versus things I can't, and the wisdom to know the difference is other people treating me differently. Getting hit on by a man for the first time in a long, long time, it was weird. I called my husband afterwards. I was like, I just got hit on. My husband's like, what? But I was like, I haven't experienced it. I've been basically invisible. Like hitting my mid 20s, I had gained over 100 pounds in a year and then basically became invisible. Basically became invisible until now my 40s now. And it's just weird. People treating me differently. So that's one aspect, but also just in general, people hold the doors for me. Many of you had commented, I've said this previously, and I love this answer because I had not thought of it. People are like, maybe people aren't treating you differently. Maybe they're picking up on your energy and that's why they're treating you differently. Maybe you're friendlier and nicer or whatever. You're more inviting in terms of personality versus actual physical appearance. I do recognize though, some of it's from physical appearance. Some of it is. And that's weird for me, and I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I'm like, I don't like it. But or even if I get hit on, I don't like that. I'm like, just make me invisible again. I don't love my hot husband. Like, just make me invisible again. My husband thinks it's funny though. He doesn't like I laugh about it. I'm like, this is weird. And so that part is interesting to me. Because I want everybody to be treated equally and with love, grace, kindness, and compassion. And I want to treat myself with love, grace, kindness, and compassion. And it's crazy that a GLP-1 hormone can change my life so dramatically. Of riding roller coasters, riding horses, showing up as a mom. Yesterday, guess what I did? I asked my kid if he wanted to play football. He loves to throw the football. And I was able to do that with him. I've never done that before, of where I'm like actively initiating playing with him before I wait for him to come ask me, just because I physically could not. And if I did, it would be for like 30 seconds. And we played outside for a while, and it was hardcore too. He had me running. I'm like, oh my God, stuff was bouncing, honey. I was so glad I had my sports bras. I'll link those down on my Amazon shopping list, okay? If you know, you know. But it's too much information. But playing and running, and we had a good time. And my son, that I know this will be core memories for him. Of mom actually, I couldn't play with him when he was younger. But now that he's getting older, I can show up as the best possible mom I can be, which being a mom and a wife are my most important titles. That's really, really important to me. And so to be able to do that each day and show up for my kid because I physically can. We've talked about this in other videos too, of when he was younger, it makes me almost cry thinking about it. He ran away from me and I could not catch him, and he was going to traffic and it was dangerous. It was dangerous where he was running. And my husband, thank God, was with me, and he ran ahead and got him. And I physically couldn't. And that makes me really sad to think about, like, I couldn't protect my kid. And that was because of being morbidly obese. And how much this medication has changed that I can protect my kid. And he's not running out in traffic anymore or like trying to. But like being able to be there, be present, show up, that is a gift. And it's a gift for me. And it's, if you're on GLP-1 medication, I hope that you're experiencing the gift. And I know some people have harder time than I have had on GLP-1 medication with different side effects and things like that. Less than 1% of people have really serious side effects like pancreatitis, appendicitis, that slow paralysis, stomach stuff. That's horrible. And so I haven't experienced that. But my life has dramatically changed as a result of not being morbidly obese anymore, of being just overweight. And eventually I'm getting close to not being in plus size clothes anymore, which is also another chapter that's been very, very weird for me. I'll save that for another video, but I hope this video has been helpful to spark conversation, things to think about, and most importantly, for you to focus in on your own weight loss journey and what's best for your health. And so if you want some support and encouragement, join the free weight loss group I have. It's a private Facebook group. I'll link that down below. I do require people answer all of the questions before coming into the group. No one's scared to that. Like everyone has to do that. And if your Facebook profile is less than 5 years old, that may flag spam. So just email me if you're caught in the spam filter. Our emoji of the day today is going to be I always mean to think of my emoji of the day before I get on set, and I'm like, oh yeah. Our emoji of the day is going to be a star, because you're a superstar. Baby, you're a star. That was a really bad song. I was supposed to say baby, you're a firework, but that wasn't the song. You're a star. Star is the emoji of the day, and it's like our bat signal for me to know you, because I truly do care. And then also I will pray over you. If you don't believe in prayer, I'll uplift you in positive thought. Your accountability question, what are you doing today to move you closer to your goals, is another good one. And make sure you BIOPTIMIZERS, Magnesium Breakthrough. Now they do also have a powder format if you'd rather drink it versus a pill. I know some people can't do pills. That is an option that is also linked down below, but use the discount code QUEEN. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow for our daily show. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. Make sure you share this video with your bestie and click that like button and subscribe. And count us of shop and count my blessings, because life is delicious. I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, friends.